Hi, Kevin Blanche. Today I want to talk about, we're going on 50 years in a couple days, of two of the most infamous, famous presidential speeches, or any speech for that matter, in this country's history. Of course, everybody talks about, right now you hear it all over the media and whatnot, about Kennedy's inauguration speech in 1961. But it was only just a few days before that that Eisenhower gave his famous speech, Beware of the Military-Industrialized Complex. That was on January 17th, 1961. Now, when I grew up in the 60s and the 70s, this was major subject matter. As I studied as a young man, at the high school level, at the college level, very big deal in popular opinion in America. Kind of gone away. It's like this. Popular opinion in America shapes and creates and is what we are. People don't think that. They think they want to go crazy and psychotic on politicians, which is totally ridiculous. I'm so sick of people blaming politicians for these things. It is the American popular opinion who molds and shapes. Congress is the voice of you and I, period. Okay, so we go back to his speech. He said, beware of the military-industrial complex. In his speech, he laid out how we have always been able to switch from the industrial complex to the military when we need to. Our industrial factories could switch over just like that. We did it in World War I, we did it in World War II, we did it in the Civil War. And he said we have grown out of this via Korea. We hadn't quite got into Vietnam yet. But he could see the writing on the wall, saying that we're creating this complex to where we've never created it before, where they have an agenda. They become the policies of America. Well, everything he laid out in that speech, and he feared, and he warned us of, we are today. We are here, right now. Everything. And nobody wants to even talk about this speech anymore. This is like, whatever. It's kind of like when I was in Manhattan, and I was having dinner with a whole group of young people. I mean, some serious artists, not crackpot artists. I'm talking very successful, dynamic people all over that city. And I'm talking about the Pat Tillman documentary. When the Pat Tillman documentary came out several months ago, and I was lucky enough to see it before it got I thought this is going to set off a firestorm in this country. This country is going to go psychotic. This is going to be, bigger than Fahrenheit 9/11 ever thought of me. This is going to be like the 60s. People are going to go psychotic when they find out the truth about this whole thing. So I'm talking about all these very dynamic people. I mean, these are people that run the show in this country. Nobody had seen it. Not one person even knew what I was talking about. And I'm like, do you not care? I don't know that it's don't care. Are people just, this war has gone on for so long, people are just tuned out to it. They're numb. We don't care. Same with the military-industrialized complex. Eisenhower talked about this in the mind, going like this. It's again, it is not politicians, it is popular opinion. If we don't care, and we just say whatever, and we just want to rant and rave and spew about all kinds of madness, the far-right Tea Party in this country has almost became an anarchist movement in this country. They don't even know what an anarchist is. I mean, free marketplace, I mean, the spew over. It's so poorly educated. It is popular opinion that is the problem here. Again, this will be 50 years in a couple days. And then just a few days later, Kennedy gave his infamous speech. And in his infamous speech, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. What a great line. What a great line. I wish people would regurgitate that over and over. And at least the media's picking up. But nobody even talks about Eisenhower's infamous speech. And like I said, in the 60s, the 70s, that speech was probably the most famous speech of our time. It was big time. It was on people's minds all over. And people feared this. We have become exactly what he feared. Our military complex is so massive in this country. Look, politicians don't tell the military what to do anymore. The military tells the politicians what to do. Think about as an economy what we've turned the military into. We use what we call as an economist a multiple effect, usually 5. Our area we live right here, we have a major Air Force base here. Of course, IRS right up the street too. Of course, these people are all, we hate federal government, get them out of our lives until they hand them a check. Then they love them. Everybody freaking is employed by them around here. They kill me. Again, ignorant spew. But anyway, the people that actually work for the military, then you got to go to all the different companies that support these military bases. It is the massive, massive, massive employer in this country. It is the economy. Just think if we said, okay, cut the Defense Department 20% as the Debt Commission has recommended we do. Do you know what the unemployment rate would be immediately in this country? Oh, I mean, like it's not horrible enough. It would go psychotic. Again, it is popular opinion. We don't care. I don't know if it's hopelessness or we've had a whole decade of this generation we've raised. We've seen nothing but pain, war, blood, death, and mayhem. We have minimalized human life so grotesquely in this country. It is disgusting. But again, it is popular opinion. I use this as an example. In 1950, the AP sports writers, all the sports writers in America voted not the greatest athlete, the greatest baseball player of the first 50 years. Okay? Everybody's going to say, oh, Babe Ruth won. No, he didn't. Ty Cobb won. Okay? They voted the greatest athlete in the history of the world. Jim Thorpe won hands down. Jim Thorpe was the greatest athlete this country's ever seen, bar none. Okay, in '99, remember Sports Illustrated? Well, all the media did their top 100 athletes. It just shows you, again, popular opinion. Who wins? I think Michael Jordan won, please. Again, it is popular opinion. Everybody wants to rant and rave and blame politicians. Congress is the voice of you and I. They are. They are. They have to pander to whatever the popular opinion wants, or they don't get reelected. They are the voice of you and I. Again, we don't care. In the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, Eisenhower's speech was a big, big, big deal. People cared. Beware of the military-industrialized complex for very important reasons, because they will become our economy. They will become an agenda. They will become who we are. That is who we are. The only thing we export in this country, the only thing, is soldiers. That's it. Maybe a little bit of wheat or some iron ore. We don't even export weapons. We don't even make those here. We make. I mean, it's madness. It is madness. But nobody wants to talk about this. Like again, I said, he was a moderate Republican who had seen war for. I mean, please. His war record speaks for itself. I mean, his words were taken very, very serious for 30 years. Oh, January, I'm more. Nobody cares. The military is our economy. We have shifted in this country over the last decade. Remember in the 90s, the smaller, leaner military? And again, wealth has been desecrated from this. That's what we've shaped ourselves into. That's what America has become. I don't like it. I think it is, I think it's grotesque. But we have had a very dramatic shift in who we are as a people. We went from this industrial giant, this manufacturing giant, for 100 years. Gone to China, to a military industrial giant. That is our economy. That is who we are. I think people need to review this. It's going to be 50 years in a couple days. People need to start thinking about this. Again, read his speech. And then 4 days later, again, John Kennedy gave his infamous speech. Both of them great speeches. But I don't know if we've gone too far. I think we have. Personally, I think we. But it has spilled over to become our economy. It has spilled over to become our economic platform, our political platform. We are the military-industrial complex. The military tells the government what to do. Government doesn't tell the military what to do. And that's exactly what Eisenhower feared. That is who we are. And again, quit getting all spew and crazy and hateful towards politicians. I'm so sick of it. I'm so sick of it. Yeah, you can hate it. I mean, you could spew and rant and rave against a group of individuals, pure ignorance, like I do. I freaking rant and rave and carry on about purely stupid, ignorant people every freaking day. Because the popular opinion has become neo-ignorant. And that's when all these ugly things happen. Quit attacking politicians. Politicians are nothing more than the voice of you and I. If you got something to rant and rave, and you got something to say about, you have YouTube, you have Twitter, you have a soapbox. Talk about it in the broad context of popular opinion. That's the only thing that can shift. Read, educate yourself, become an educator, become a community leader, run for freaking office, do whatever. Don't sit and personally attack this congressperson, this person. It's wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong. They are doing what we tell them to do in the aggregate. And if you don't think we are all in this together, you are wrong. We are all in this together. That is what a democracy is. Just because you have an individual idealism that doesn't agree with contemporized Americans' opinion, too bad. That isn't how we operate in this country. That is not how we operate. We don't have a bunch of, we're mavericks, we do what we want, blah, blah. Doesn't work that way. We all pay taxes. We all drive on the same roads. We all use the same school systems. We are in this together whether you like it or not. We are a democracy, and that's how it works. So if you want to change things, you change popular opinion. Awareness, you do it with your brain. Do it with your mind. And to the far, far right and the Tea Party, read about the anarchist movements. That's who you guys have turned into. It's not going to work. It is not going to work. We need to come together in the aggregate, change popular opinion. Start thinking about these subject matters. Kevin Blanche, January 2011.